Hey all, this is Ron from Military Images here talking with my good friend, Steve Phan. He's a chief of interpretation, education, and visitor services at Camp Nelson National Monument. If you haven't seen the news, the 160th of Camp Nelson is coming up very, very soon. There's a whole day of activities planned on July 26th, 2025. Steve, thanks so much for.
Good to see you, my friend. I hear the keynote speaker is affiliated with Military Images, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. You remember, I used to live in DC, and
Yeah,
now
you look familiar.
you're following in my footsteps now, right? It's a few years later.
Exactly.
But look
When
forward
it was
to
2022 at Appomattox. Yeah.
And now you're going to be following in the footsteps and going to the bluegrass, and we look forward to having you. And I can't wait to talk about this exhibit, which I heard a lot about, right? I don't actually believe I've seen this in person. I know it was at Manassas National Battlefield. And I remember seeing when you presented at Appomattox, I found so profoundly powerful. It's just, you talked about people, right? And we're all connected as human beings, right? And I think that's, kind of the inspiration for all of this, right?
Yeah, I mean the generations that are before us, those that are yet to come, we have this opportunity to share this wonderful history. The work, I am following your footsteps, the wonderful work that you've done at Camp Nelson, what you did before that in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere is inspirational. I love the fact that you're on the front lines, you're meeting people, you're interpreting history, you're helping to share information. I know in a recent conversation talking about the caretakers,
Yes.
we're the caretakers of this, and we talk about it often in the Civil War photograph collecting community. We don't own these artifacts, these precious relics, these images. We're just holding them until the next person can take them on. And so the origin of the exhibit happened to be this book, my book, African American Faces of the Civil War. I had a woman named Lisa Burrows out in Ashtabula, Ohio. She contacts me and she says, I would love to do something more with these images. And we start brainstorming, and I give her full credit. She had the idea of, could we bring these images to Ashtabula, Ohio? There is home there, yeah, on the it's called the Hubbard House. It was part of the Underground Railroad, and we're trying to think about what we could do. And getting all the images, the original images together wouldn't be possible because they're scattered in different collections, and it would be an expensive insurance and security proposition for a smaller organization. So we thought, well, let's just make some high quality prints and put them together. So all of this happened around 2018, and then 2019 on Juneteenth, that weekend in Ashtabula. We're at the Hubbard House. We have the whole exhibit set up, a whole day of activities. The local NAACP was there, a young man who was doing dramatic interpretations of some of the men who are pictured in the book. Of course, tours around the house. It was such a lovely, such a meaningful day. I had just a little bit of a sense of what you feel every day when you're out to the community. I had that feeling in Ashtabula. And then COVID hit soon after that. And things sort of went on a hiatus. And then we came back in 2024 at another house on the Underground Railroad, the Goodrich House in York, Pennsylvania. It's now part of the Underground Railroad Museum, Freedom Center. A lot of interesting activities going on there. And the Goodrich family were African Americans, and Glenn Alvin Goodrich was a photographer. So wonderful connection there. And then that caught the attention of Manassas National Battlefield. It went there, and then off to the Lincoln Depot Museum in Peekskill, New York, where it was until yesterday.
Yes.
But it's now in the mail to Camp Nelson.
Yes. One of my I guess the email that made me smile the most, I had to read a lot of emails today, and that's a good thing. And right before I got on here, I got an email from you. It said, "Hey, the exhibit's on the way. Here's the tracking number." I was
Yes.
like, "Oh my gosh!" Now
Well,
I feel like it's been drips that are coming in, maybe even a big tidal wave. But we've got the poster first came in right for the digital catalog with the QR code, and then I emailed you this morning. I said, "Hey, the bios just came in,"
yes,
and then
yes.
later today the printed catalogs came in, and then I mean, my gosh, I've been emailing you with you all day long. So it's
I know. It's been
only
fun.
fitting that we're
And
shooting this video together. Oh, look at that.
I've got my catalog. I had a couple shipped to me just so I could have some for my collection. And I love the fact that you wanted to do this. It's personalized to Camp Nelson at the
That's
bottom,
amazing.
and all of the images are. Oh, I can't hold this correctly. All the images are inside with the bios, and so I think it's a tremendous guide that comes along with the exhibit. And we also have a QR code, so if you want to go download it from online, you can do that too.
And
And
we've already had people ask about that, so I'm starting to
oh
promote the
wow,
event and like for
nice.
those that can't make it. And you appreciate doing this with I know Military Images has like a huge following. It's there's people from around the country and the world that are interested in this, right? And with the digital access now, it makes it more accessible, right? So we can really tell these
Yeah,
stories and connect people to these sites. Power Place, right? I keep on talking about. And so this is and by the and it's funny, one of our you'll meet our lead ranger. She was reading your book and she just came back about. She's like, "This is amazing." I'm like, "I know. That's why he's the keynote. That's why this exhibit's coming." And we just started laughing. She's like, "Did you see this guy?" I'm like, "Yes." It was very funny. So,
well,
um,
I've been motivated by you guys for another reason too, is because it's this idea with the magazine and the books. That's one way to interact with individuals. But I've always been a big believer in meeting people where they are,
right,
and part of that means. And this is thanks again to Lisa Burrows
right,
and the phone call we had around Ashtabula was meeting people in their own communities.
right.
The idea of being able to bring it home to individuals, to families, to communities, that idea really seized upon me. And when I learned more about the kind of work that you're doing, it's sort of that same idea is you have a wonderful local resource, and the idea that we're able to bring this exhibit to Camp Nelson on July 26th, and of course into September. I know it's going to be up for a few months. In my mind, it brings together stories, it brings together the past, the present, and the future,
It
all
does.
there, all right where it happened. And I think
Okay,
that
so
that's just
what are your thoughts? Because there are Camp Nelson soldiers featured in
yeah,
this exhibit,
yeah,
and they were here.
yeah,
William Wright, Samuel
yeah,
Trueheart, right? They made their ways to Camp Nelson. There's other Kentucky soldiers as well. Some of these men are enslaved. They gained their freedom by joining the U.S. military. But what do as someone that's been intimately involved with this project from the start, and you've
yeah.
seen it, nurtured it, help make it grow. You've sent it to different places. The fact that some of these soldiers featured are going back to the place where they freed themselves. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. It makes me feel very emotional when I think about it because I I like to tell folks that I spend my mornings in the 19th century.
I
I
like
get
that. Okay.
I get up early, way early, because it's that quiet time of the day,
Yeah.
and it's me. It's nowadays mostly digital. I'm on the computer. I'm reading digitized books. I'm looking at original military service records from Fold 3, the website, and I'm getting immersed in these individuals, and I'm reading about the joys, their sorrows, their families, and it stays with me. It becomes part of me, and then when I go to a place where they walked, a place where they fought, a place where they lived, maybe were wounded, maybe died of disease,
Right.
or maybe survived and went on to do great things with their families and their communities. Being at those places, I can't help but just sort of feel, you sort of feel the moment, you sort of
Yeah.
feel the energy of those individuals. I can't shake that. And it goes back when I was a kid. My mom and dad took me to Gettysburg. I have, so many people tell the story.
Oh, sure.
Um, and I remember walking around the battlefield mostly with my head down because I was hoping to find a bullet
Oh,
or a
sure. Yeah.
right.
Right. Right.
I'm a 12-year-old kid,
Right.
and then but I remember in the car realizing in the ride home that there was something about this experience, something about this place that I couldn't shake, and it stays with me to this day. And when I am researching William Wright, Sam Trueheart, the other individuals who were at Camp Nelson, it sort of gets back into my soul.
Right.
And I also, the idea of bringing these people to life, even if it's just for a moment through words or speaking their names and speaking their regiments. It's almost like we're calling them back into existence so that we can understand their service. We can understand their sacrifice. We can understand what they did so we can do what we do today. And that feels, it's a powerful big thing that I don't pretend to be any master of it, but I like being in it.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I know we were
Yeah,
talking about Sam Trueheart, right? And David
yeah,
Brown bringing those original plates and family portraits and service records out to Camp Nelson. I mean,
yeah,
he was here in 1864, right?
yeah.
And we believe after talking with him today that he survived Saltville, thankfully survived Simpsonville, and
No,
led his family all the way out to Kansas. And
yeah,
the living legacy continues, right? And I think that's
yeah,
what's incredibly powerful. And we meet visitors from all over the country, all parts of the world, right? And
yeah,
we have photos of soldiers and civilians at Camp Nelson. And
mm,
one of the things I think any good interpreter, any good site manager should do is just observe visitors, right? And what do
yeah,
they say? What are they looking at? And
yeah,
in many cases, they're talking about these images. You're like, who is this guy? Who is
yeah.
this? Like they've got a powerful Barons. What is their story? That's one of my favorite things people ask me. So, like, who is this person,
Yeah,
right? And I think this exhibit, which features, what is it, 37 images of soldiers and sailors, correct?
yeah. We have 37 images altogether. Yeah.
And how much has that grown over the years?
Well, when I started looking for images, I only found a handful that were available online, and most of them were not unidentified, or I wasn't able to confirm their ID. And since then, I've been working to collect. First of all, it was to collect enough images for a book, and that
Yeah.
took me about 2.5 years to get about 80 images for the book. And since then, with Military Images Magazine, I'm the editor and publisher. I have made an emphasis to try to find more identified images. And so we've published probably maybe a couple dozen um, uh, over the last several years. And so the number is gradually getting up there. What I'm interested to do is to set a goal, or the goal that I've set is to find as many of these images as possible and to gather as much as we can about them, and then to be able to share that information back out to the world, because there's a whole country of genealogists and researchers and
Right.
history buffs and all across the spectrum, right? They're early folks who are just getting started. They're individuals who've been doing this. They've been students of the Civil War for their entire lives. And to get those images out there and to get those stories out there. As we were talking about with David Brown, we confirmed that he in fact was wounded. We confirmed that he was at Simpsonville, and he was at Saltville. And it's important to be able to bring the factual stories together so that we can talk about these individuals for a long time to come. I do think that you and I have a lot in common. I think in being able to. I'm sort of walking the research ground, and you're walking the ground.
Right. Right.
So I do want to know, how does it feel for you every day? I mean, aside from the exhibit coming, it's going to be here or be in Camp Nelson for a few months. It's going to go to someplace else. you're still going to be in Camp Nelson.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be part of such a living, hallowed ground?
It's really special. It's humbling. And I think people find different forms of inspiration here, myself included, right? And I kind of make the joke now at my Civil War presentations. As I mentioned, I meet visitors all the time, people that have Civil War ancestry, right? And, people ask me, do you have any connection to the Civil War? And I say, yeah, I'm like, my family fought for the South. And they kind of like, what are you talking about? And my family's from South Vietnam. My father served in the South Vietnamese military, right? So I kind of make that joke, right? And they're like, oh, okay. But that was my family's Civil War, right? And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tell people growing up, my father was 19 when he fled Vietnam right before Saigon fell, right?
Mm,
And my
mm,
father, my mother actually married an American soldier, and they had two daughters. And
mm.
after they broke up, my parents met in Denver, which was one of the refugee cities, which is interesting, right?
Oh, wow,
And so
wow.
I grew up with other South Vietnamese refugees. It's a really, for me, it it that's my part of my identity, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
my father being so young and displaced from home, he didn't really talk about Vietnam too much. And
mm,
I really got interested in the Civil War. And
mm,
I think one of the reasons why is because I wanted to learn more about my own family's experience, right?
mm,
And so got really enamored with the Civil War and passionate at a very young age. And it's kind of
mm,
led up to this.
mm,
And as I mentioned, we've had refugees, modern day refugees come to the park, and they're like, there's something here, right? We have descendants
mm,
that come all the time now,
mm,
either share their family history with us or ask us questions, and we're helping them do research. And
mm.
that's really powerful. And I'm really excited to see you and just share with you the things that we've been doing there, right? And
Good.
I think it's for me, it's incredibly for me, this is a labor of love, right? I'm very fortunate to be in this position to work for the National Park Service, to work at Camp Nelson National Monument.
Mm.
We're going to meet the famed Dr. Steve McBride, who did 30 years of research in
I'm looking
archaeology.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
interpretation. He's the one that excavated the photography studio that knows
yeah.
all about the historic images of all the buildings. And
Mm,
he's been doing this work, I think, since the late 80s, right? And he's become a great friend and mentor. And I feel like I'm just building upon from the work of the people that came before me. As I
mm,
said, it's very humbling, something that I'm very proud of.
mm.
And as I said before, I feel like I'm just the caretaker, right? Yeah, I'm deeply passionate about this work, but I hope it's the voices of the descendants and people deeply involved in the community that are from the community that are sharing these stories, and that we're just simply amplifying those. And with the power of the work that you do with images, I can't wait to introduce you to descendants that are going to be at the program, right? That are going to make the journey to Camp Nelson. They love seeing new things at the park. They're really proud of the stories that we're telling there, that the work that we're doing, right? And really, as I mentioned, Ron, they're telling their family stories. We're just there to help,
Yeah.
just be a part of it, right? And we're
Well, I have to say, Steve, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you've done to and working with others to make Camp Nelson what it is today. I'm honored to be part of the festivities. I'm delighted to be able to bring Faces of Freedom, and I look forward to hanging out with you and
yeah,
meeting
it's gonna
everyone.
be fun. Good
It's
to
going
see
to be
you.
a really great time.
Yeah, this is I'm really glad it happened this way. I could have
Yeah,
asked, back in 23 or 20, even 24. We
yeah,
just weren't there yet. Now is the right time for this exhibit. And it's really, I feel like it's all coming together, and it's at the right time too. And
good.
hey, this is going to be a wonderful collaboration, as it has been since we
Yes,
um I look forward to your emails. I call you RC Cola now, and
I
that's
know.
the relationship we have, and
A nickname from my childhood, which I
oh,
love.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, and for me, this is beginning. I mean, it's a continuation of a relationship. I can't wait to be in Camp Nelson, but then after that, what more can we do?
Right.
We're going to figure that out, and
Hey,
we're
by
going
the
to
way,
we're gonna
so
do
where
more.
does it go after Camp Nelson? Do you have a place lined up?
I have several
Of
places
course.
that are under discussion right now.
Oh, good. Okay.
But I don't have a final commitment from any one of them. So we've got that. That's all in the works. Separately, based on the strength of Faces of Freedom, we now have Faces of Civil War Nurses, and that
Oh,
opened
amazing.
up a couple of months ago. at the Clara Barton, from your DC days,
Sure do.
Clara Barton Missing
Oh, that's right.
Soldiers
It's at the
Museum.
Missing Soldiers Home. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's in conjunction with the National Museum of Civil War Medicine in
Sure.
Frederick. Dana Schoaf, Melissa Wynn,
My dear
David
friends.
Price,
Yes.
yeah, all those guys.
Okay.
And so they were inspired. They inspired me, and
Sure.
so that's on another separate
Okay.
trek. It's going to go to Pittsburgh, to I think the Carnegie
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Library
Oh, yeah.
after this. So things are happening,
Yep.
and
Well, that
I
means we have
and
to
that's
talk
good.
again.
Yes, exactly.
There were hospital wards at Camp Nelson,
Yeah.
literally. So
And that's when we get together next. I want to talk to you more, learn
okay,
more about that. What can we do? What can we explore from the medical side of things? And
definitely.
so we got a lot to talk about, my friend.
Just getting started. And hey, if
We are.
for those that are listening and hopefully can make it out to Camp Nelson, Kentucky, we're located just south of Lexington and Nicholasville. Just check out our website, Camp Nelson National Monument. Check out our Facebook page. We've got all of our programs listed on there. We got a great website too. We have a then and now section of photography. We've got a whole weekend of events coming up, actually, included guided then and now photo tours. Some guy named Ron Coddington is our keynote on the 26th. Who is he? Apparently, he's going to be signing books, and he'll be talking about this exhibit that he's bringing to Camp Nelson. It's going to be really special. So we hope to see you at the park soon.
Good. And I'm going to drop the link in this chat below the video. So we'll go from there. Steve,
Thanks. You're the
thank
best.
you so very much. I really appreciate it. You are too.
Continue to inspire, my friend. I'll safe travels, and I'll see you soon.
Sounds good. You take care. I'll see you soon.